My starting height was 5'7". I would consider myself kind of on the shorter end of average.
This is Alex, not his real name. He asked us to protect his privacy. He's been tormented by his height most of his life.
Most people can agree that body shaming is not okay and making fun of someone's appearance is not cool, but comments about height just seem to get a pass.
When I see a man that is 5'8", I'm like, look, a garden gnome.
There was a time in my life where it just bothered me so much that I would wake up before my shift at work started and I would just walk around the neighborhoods near my house and just cry. And just like put in my headphones and cry into my mask. And I was like, there's gotta be another way. I knew there's that one solution. And I said, hey, let's do it. Like I just got to the point where I was like, if all it is pain and money, all right. These are all phrases that are associated with like being tall. When you're taking the high road, you are being the bigger person. When you want to be confident, they say stand tall. Fantasy ideal man is tall, dark, and handsome. Tall drink of water. When you admire someone, you look up to them. For shorter things, you fell short of your goal, came up short, you sold yourself short. You are talking down to someone. Don't shrink yourself. The phrase punching down. Although Starbucks flipped it because the smallest cup is called a tall. So shout out to Starbucks.
What is the minimum height a guy has to be?
Okay, so I'm really tall, but like, unfortunately, I have gotten with guys shorter than me.
What do you mean, unfortunately?
Unfortunately.
You're just not to be taken seriously or not to be respected in the same way of someone who's average height or above average height. I mean, I see instances of it not just in the people I speak with or interact with at work or my friends and family, but it's very common in media as well, like Shrek with Lord Farquaad.
I am Lord Farquaad.
Lord Farquaad? Forgive me, my lord, for I was just saying a short... farewell.
Once I graduated college and entered the workforce and would still receive comments that feels like someone says it to you on the playground, you're like, so this really doesn't end.
An analysis of CDC data found that, on average, taller people actually earn more. And for his book, Blink, Malcolm Gladwell surveyed Fortune 500 CEOs, and he found that 58% of them were over 6 feet, compared to 14% of all U.S. men.
It just got to a point where like day after day, I would hear a comment from someone at work and be in a really bad mood and come back and I'd be hanging with my roommates and like one of them would make a comment about something, not my height, but just height in general that like bothered me. And I would, okay, I gotta get out of here. I go to my room, put in my headphones, like go on TikTok and they'd be like, we found this guy on Tinder. We're gonna line up like the water bottle he's holding next to his body and try to calculate his actual height and then decide if we want to swipe left or right based on if he's tall enough. He was only 13 Aquafina bottles tall. That means he's 5'8". Left. And I was like, okay, I have to get out of this.
Alex is now 5'10". That's an inch taller than the average American man.
So I had my surgery January of 2022.
Part of my subspecialty is making people taller.
Dr. Shahab Mahboubian is an orthopedic surgeon in Los Angeles. He performed leg lengthening surgery on Alex last year.
This is what the rod looks like when it's inside the bone. Here you can see this is like usually what the new bone looks like. It's actually thicker and stronger than your natural bone. Let's just, for example, talk about the femur, which is the bone in the thigh. I make a small incision where I cut the bone. Then I put a rod from the hip down inside the bone. Then I secure the bone and the nail on the top and the bottom. The nail slowly lengthens over time using an external device called the ERC. It lengthens the nail about 1 millimeter a day and new bone forms.
I believe it's 1/3 of a millimeter per turn. So if you do it 3 times a day, essentially your lengthening period is about 3 months if you're doing the full length. of slightly over 3.1 inches. The first at-home lengthening. The initial surgery is about 75 grand. And then the rod removal surgery, luckily I'm having that covered by insurance. So for me, the second surgery is just 10 grand flat. Session complete. You'll have physical therapy. For me, that was, in the beginning, I think 5 days a week. You should also probably factor in the cost of Ubers, your Grubhub and Uber Eats deliveries for a little bit. It'll probably be about like 90 to 100K. This was not like a spur of the moment decision. Made sure my finances were all in place. I did also take out a sizable loan before the first surgery. I did also start an OnlyFans account, which has been pretty successful. It's been a good way to put a little bit of money into savings every month. I did not ask for this. This is the one solution, but I wish it was painless and free. In order to get what I wanted, this is just the route I had to take. That's what it is. Money comes and goes. To me, this feels like I'm truly, like the phrase, investing in yourself. And I'm planning to live for a long time. So really, when you break it down, it's like $1,000 a year to not hate myself.
Absolutely, I feel for my patients. I'm about 5'9", so I would consider myself average height. You know, I was a late bloomer when I was younger. I still remember in 8th grade, I was like the shortest kid in my class. And you know, I would get all these short jokes. And that's why I even have 60 to 65-year-old guys that have come to me to undergo the procedure, because it just doesn't stop. The short jokes keep going on, and you know, they feel inferior. So I know what my patients are going through.
Dr. Mabubian says the surgery's popularity has grown sizably in the past 5 years.
I think it's becoming less taboo and more accepted by the public. But I think we still have a ways to go before it's accepted by the general public. I consider this procedure a life-changing procedure. And I ask my patients, would you do this again? All of them say yes, without hesitation.
It's a big perspective change just in general. Like when you go to like a coffee shop, you expect the counter to be like at a certain height on your body. And now it's like more like at my waist as opposed to like up on my stomach.
One study found the psychological state of patients improved consistently after their limbs were lengthened. And experts say the surgery is safe as long as it's done by an experienced surgeon.
I don't have any regrets about it. There's certainly downsides to it. Like, as great as it's been for me and like legitimately life-changing as it's been for me, there's certainly things I miss out on being in a walker and on a cane for the better half of 2022. In terms of proportions, yes, like my femurs are now significantly bigger than they're like meant to be, but I don't feel insecure about it. That's the whole reason I got the surgery. So when I look at myself in the mirror now, I'm like, that's right. Like, it's like what I wanted.
This morning, Alex is finally getting the rods out of his legs.
I do want people to know it's safe and you're not a psycho for getting it. If it seems like a crazy surgery that only an idiot would do, like you just might not be aware of all the reasons that people would want to get this, the actual effects that it has on your life.
Hey, beautiful.
Hi. I saw Twilight. There was one specific scene where Jacob, Taylor Lautner, pulled up like kind of by Bella's house. He had his shirt off. The way like she clinged onto him, went into his arms. I was like, that's exactly what I want. I need that body.
I make you nervous.
I swore to myself that I would get abs that summer. And I did get them.
Diego Mercado's 23 and lives in the Bronx.
I can sense how I make you feel.
After that pivotal Twilight screening, Diego signed up for his first gym at 15. A year later, he leveled up to Star Fitness. That's a bodybuilder's gym.
When I first started working at Star Fitness, oh my God, it was like going from hero to zero. I was like, holy freaking crap, do I even belong here? After spending, I want to say, maybe like 6 months to a year at Star Fitness, I was very disappointed with my progress. So from the research I had done, I learned that the most significant thing that impacted muscle mass was testosterone. I was like, you know what, like, let me go get my testosterone levels checked when I was 17 years old. And I found out that at that time I had the testosterone of like a 40-plus-year-old man. The doctor did offer to give me like testosterone replacement therapy, offered to help me out, but I figured that I would instead take it in my own hands. I felt like I knew enough.
That's when Diego says he started using anabolic steroids, both the injectable and oral kinds.
The first time I got them, I was 18. It was extremely scary in the beginning, but I don't know, I felt like Superman. It was like literally every time I walked into the gym, I could lift heavier weight. Like it would sometimes be to the point where just grabbing and holding the dumbbells themselves would like pump my forearms up. I was gaining like 1 to 3 pounds every single week. And like I was lean, I was like losing fat and building muscle at the same time.
This is what you have to do, like this.
The most common reasons for people to seek out steroid use are almost exclusively appearance-based.
Dr. Tom Hildebrandt's a psychiatry professor at Mount Sinai and runs the Eating and Weight Disorders program.
Steroids have been around since World War I, and they were used primarily for performance. And then late 70s, early 80s, you saw an explosion of popularity. Arnold Schwarzenegger came out as Mr. Olympia and moved from kind of this tiny bodybuilding subculture into completely mainstream popularity.
Steroids are taken 8 or 9, 10 weeks before competition. It's not a healthy thing to do, but it's being used.
Did you take them?
I take them. I took them, yeah, up until the competition.
There was this clear information out there that to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, you have to use anabolic steroids. And so we moved from that hyper-masculine Arnold Schwarzenegger-like look to a whole bunch of different ones, from underwear models like Marky Mark to even runway models. You could really kind of create any type of body that you desired.
Twilight was what kicked off the incentive to want to build an extremely aesthetic, lean, well-rounded physique. After that, I guess I would say things like Marvel, like seeing Captain America, when that guy comes out of that machine and he's like jacked as hell, you're like, yo. Social media has had a massive impact on my fitness pursuits in general. You see like the most jacked people on the planet. You see the Zac Efrons, you see the Marvel characters.
And experts say social media's just made it easier for anyone to purchase anabolic steroids.
So for, a couple $100, maybe $1,000, you can have 10 or 15 pounds more muscle. If you think about what plastic surgery costs as a comparative, it's a no-brainer, right?
It was an expensive vice. The first year, nothing bad happened. Like, I was only getting significantly stronger. I was gaining muscle. Like, I felt good. My confidence skyrocketed through the roof, like better than it had ever been. My relationships improved. Everything did. I thought I was like, damn, bro, like if Jacob were to stand next to me, I'd make him look like crap.
But that changed one night in July 2019 when Diego went out with his friends after work.
This is the result of tren and cardio.
Maybe 9 months to a year into it, I would wake up and like my bed would be in like a pool of sweat from the night sweats, and then minor acne. I was experiencing some side effects that I had already had, like the heating up, just little stuff that didn't really bother me, and I was like, okay, I'm used to this by now. And when I was at the bar, I knew that I wasn't supposed to be drinking because of the excess strain that it would have on my liver. I was like, screw it. And I had the drink or two. But I very distinctly remember my body was heating up again, but it was different to how it was in the past. I was like, yo, this is way too much. Like, I was getting a massive migraine. Things were like shaky for me. I was like, yo, this is not what I'm normally used to experiencing side effects wise. I'm like, some shit is horribly wrong. I need to go. When I got home that night, I was super sweaty. Kind of ish halfway made it through the night. Woke up in the morning, could like barely move. I was like, yo, I need to get to the hospital immediately. They ran through the several blood tests and was like, yo, this is what's wrong with you. Your hemoglobin's through the roof. As a result of taking steroids, your red blood cell count increases, which means more blood flow, so more pressure on your arteries and important organs like your heart, liver, all that good stuff. That was serious. I thought that would definitely encouraged me to never use it again. But yeah, I don't know. I guess like because it does something to you mentally. You know, it makes you feel like you're invincible. I never committed myself to a full cycle because I think there was like that subconscious fear that was lingering in the back of my head. If you commit to this, you're gonna commit to the end of your life. So I messed with it for a few months after, but I would say no more than a year and a half after that it was cut off completely. It's going from Superman to Clark Kent.
This looks like a job for Superman.
Mentally, what it does to you, oh my God, I could write an entire book about it. Because it like springs you into a depression, anxiety, like loss of like meaning for life. So what was killing me is no matter how much I was hitting the gym or like how diligently I was trying to track my food or whatever it was, I was not making progress anymore. I was losing muscle mass. It eats away like at my ability to interact with other people, my ability to have confidence, to have conversations, to maintain relationships, everything.
Do I believe steroids are being used by Major League Baseball players? Yes.
I have never used steroids, period.
Sue.
Asking me or any other player to answer questions about who took steroids in front of television cameras will not solve the problem.
Experts say the media coverage and stigma around steroids, you know, that it's cheating, it's dishonorable. Well, it's pushed the whole industry underground, which means less research and less support for people trying to quit.
What our kids are getting was designed, at best, for use in horses and pigs and cattle.
Taylor's knowledge of anabolic steroids prior to his uses was probably slim to none.
Don's brother, Taylor, turned to steroids when he was encouraged to put on muscle mass for the high school baseball team in 2003.
Not only was Taylor getting the acne and the puffy cheeks and that sort of thing, but Taylor was experiencing emotional outbursts. Taylor became very angry, and just within the flip of a switch, he would become depressed. After seeing his psychiatrist, the recommendation from the doctor was to quit cold turkey. So, this throws the body obviously into a big hormone imbalance, which can lead to depression. He took his life just after his 17th birthday. If there were more information on anabolic steroids that my brother would have gotten, would he be here today? And the answer, I believe, is yes.
As a result of doing steroids, I need testosterone replacement therapy, but it's uncertain, and this has always been my biggest fear, of whether or not I would need that for the rest of my life. I don't know yet.
Since quitting steroids, Diego's finally found a doctor who can help get his hormone levels back to normal.
I still don't have an exact answer of what I'm gonna need. Just a better, clearer picture and a pathway to like, okay, you're getting better. I'm nowhere near as depressed as I used to be. I'm not depressed. Like, I don't have the anxiety that I did.
Nowadays, Diego's channeled his passion for fitness in a different way, blogging for Men's Health and working at a physical therapy rehab center.
My relationship to fitness has went from being obsessive about the way that I look and see myself to a much healthier one that's focused on health and feeling good. Physical health, mental health, emotional health, spiritual health, all that good stuff. I don't think I would ever use steroids again. I don't think any of that was worth it. It was not worth the depression, the anxiety, the lacklusterness I felt in life, loss of meaning, confusion, everything all piled into one. It wasn't worth it at all.
The hardest part about it was actually chewing it all. So I would just put it into a blender, blend it all up, and just drink chicken. Isn't that gross?
Shows videos online of celebrity singers that eat chicken and rice all the time.
You have to eat like these just bland, naked pieces of chicken and rice.
Brown rice, grilled chicken, broccoli.
Or chicken and broccoli?
Chicken breast and broccoli, and training.
I never thought at the time there was something wrong with me. I always thought I want to be bigger. I want to be bigger.
And eat boiled chicken breast every 2 hours, which is not very good. But that's how you get that body.
Just seeing that and then taking it in so simply, like all I need to do is just eat chicken and rice. All right, cool, I'll do it. And I took that to the extreme, to the point where like force feeding yourself and taking food like a pill.
Yeah, not very good.
When it comes to eating disorders, we usually think about girls and women. It's something we see in pop culture all the time.
I didn't eat for 3 days so I could be lovely.
But studies have found nearly a third of people diagnosed with eating disorders are actually boys and men.
Had you ever heard of a boy with an eating disorder?
I thought it was just a girl thing.
Ryan started restricting his eating in 8th grade. He asked us not to use his last name to protect his privacy. He's 17 now.
I would ask my friends, have I changed? What do I look like now? And I would look for them to, use skinny as an adjective. And I do it pretty often. Anytime I was feeling like, especially like bigger.
Ryan and Nathan live on opposite coasts, but they've both struggled with their body image since childhood.
4 times a day, I would have 2 chicken thighs and 3 cups of rice.
Nathan Wilson is 22 and got obsessed with powerlifting and building muscle a few years ago, and he put himself on a strict diet.
I committed every single day to eating all of that food. I was like extremely nutrient deprived because I only ate chicken and rice. If I eat and then I throw up, oh no, I'm down this many calories. So then you go get like a tub of ice cream or something, and then you eat that to replace it. I wasn't eating for enjoyment, I was eating to accomplish a goal.
3, 2, 1.
That like heroic male archetype, like the reason they chose him is because he's like the most wholesome, honest dude. He's just not big, so they're making him big. All I wanted was just like to be overnight, go into a chamber like this, and then in 30 seconds you are a different human.
How do you feel?
Taller.
You look taller.
Yeah, I was like 13 when this movie came out. Obviously it's just unrealistic and it doesn't work like that, and I know that now, but still looks great. Still a cool scene.
If you think about the original Batman and Superman actors like Adam West for Batman, and you think about the Marvel superheroes that are portrayed now in Hollywood, they're like really big and bulky, much more muscular. And there have actually been studies that have looked at trends in male action figures over time and have found that even if you look at the Batman action figure from 30 years ago, the typical action figures that boys play with today are significantly more muscular than they were decades ago.
Dr. Jason Nagata's an eating disorder specialist at UCSF. He's been pushing for more research in the area that focuses on guys. He says eating disorders can present in many different ways in boys and men, from the guys who want to look lean and then to the ones who want to bulk up.
More recent diagnosis is called muscle dysmorphia, more colloquially known as bigorexia or reverse anorexia. And that's when somebody is trying to become big or bulk up, and they may actually view themselves as being puny or tiny, even if they objectively are muscular or large.
The body dysmorphia one, you get out of the shower and you spend a couple minutes going through all your poses and like looking at everything like, oh, do my shoulders look bigger yet? Nah. And it's like, oh, does my back look, oh no. And I don't want to say that I've struggled with something that I haven't been diagnosed with. But for years, I stand in the mirror and I look at myself longer, and then I go through poses. I always try to go to the gym, and I'll go in the locker room, wait for no one to be there, and I'll take my shirt off and I'll look at myself, see what I look like with a pump, see if I look any better. And it's an obsession. It would be hard for me to say I had an eating disorder, but I definitely had something in my brain that was like telling me I needed to do this in an unhealthy way.
When did you think, okay, maybe it can apply to boys too, to me?
Wouldn't be until I started treatment and they diagnosed me with it. They put me in a house with people who also had one. I don't think it was until then that I even realized there were other boys who had this issue.
Ryan checked into Newport Healthcare, a mental health treatment center, last year. He was diagnosed with several issues, including an eating disorder.
Did it make it harder to get help since you didn't even really think it was something that could apply to you as a boy?
Yeah, there's actually like a lot of mental health programs for people with eating disorders, but they're exclusive to girls.
But cases like Ryan's are rare. Male patients are severely underdiagnosed when it comes to eating disorders.
One issue with the misdiagnosis or underdiagnosis of boys is that 99% of the research up until now has focused on female samples.
Up until 2020, you had to miss at least 3 periods to be diagnosed with anorexia nervosa.
I think that because of the stereotype that eating disorders primarily affect girls and women, The boys that we typically see have been suffering for months, if not years, and they have delays in diagnosis and treatment. So actually half of the boys that we see in our clinic are sick enough that they actually have to be hospitalized when we see them.
What age is this?
8th grade, so I would have been 13.
And how are you doing at this point?
At this point, I was doing wrestling, so I was thinking about eating every day, every meal pretty much, before and after. Either like guilt or, dreading a meal. Like that's when I started to restrict, was around 8th grade.
And then this here is when?
Freshman year.
So what about would you say is the time difference between these two?
Probably almost exactly a year.
A year. Wow.
Yeah.
You're a lot thinner.
Yeah.
Do you see that now?
Yeah, I mean now I can see it, but in the moment I felt like I looked like that even when I was like that.
Unfortunately, over 10% of young men with eating disorders will eventually die from the condition, and so it's extremely important that we identify them early and get them treatment.
Ryan completed a 60-day inpatient program last May.
As a young boy, you want to be really masculine, and you don't want to show any weakness. But really what makes you strong is realizing your own weaknesses and fighting them. And if that has to be eating, you have to recognize it first, and then you have to fight it, rather than let it consume you.
I myself, I just did want to be bigger, and I felt small a lot, even at times when people were telling me that I'm big, and even at times when I was, lifting the most amount of weight that I could, and all these things, I still felt small. I do feel like I'm in a better place. One, therapy helped. I dealt with a lot of those kind of mental issues that I think were behind what I was dealing with, and now I'm at a point where I like my diet, I enjoy what I eat, I feel good. All the cues to me that I'm okay are there. I have good sleep, my skin is clear, but I still feel small. I'll probably over the next year, the course of this year, I'll probably try to gain weight and get at least a 200-pound marker. Still something in there I still feel like I have to be big a little bit. Yeah, I do feel, I don't know, yeah.
Do you ever eat chicken and rice now?
Not chicken thighs. I'm totally burnt on chicken thighs. Rice is fine, I love rice.